Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of Bounding into Comics, and I am joined by my co-hosts tonight, Donald Edmonds and the Script Doctor. We're going to be talking to you guys about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great too. It looks like we also will be joined by guest host Baby Yoda as well. Deformed Baby Yoda, maybe. I feel like his eyes are like not set right.
Oh, the eyes are too
It was
big.
an Etsy thing.
Yeah. Not even like on the Etsy doll. Even for the species, Yoda has very human eyes, but this child has really big puppy dog eyes. Weird.
Yes. So I see we got some folks in the chat. Lopter, Demon King of Inferno, and John Willis. Thank you guys for joining us. We will be doing the Mandalorian reviews every Friday. This is our first one, and it'll probably be around this time, around 7 o'clock Eastern time. So thank you guys for joining us. So let's kind of just get right into it. We'll just go around the horn. Initial reactions. We'll start with you, Don. What did you think?
50-50. So, like I said, when I initially saw it, I had to compartmentalize the latter half of the show versus the build-up of the show, build-up to that moment. That latter part, the end scene, fantastic, glorious, I was in awe of everything that was happening. But then all the build-up and the lead-up going into it.
You can talk spoilers. We're going to be talking spoilers here, so don't feel afraid to. You can talk about spoilers.
Fight against the crate dragon. Great crate freaking fight. All the lead up into it where he had to do A to get to B, and they had to go do B to get to C. Very RPG, and just like I said, it's the RPG again. Hey, can you do this? If you do this task, I will give you the armor that you require.
Yeah, he picked up like a kill mission in order to get the upgraded armor reward, right? Yeah, we've seen that before.
Upgraded. It's the rusty armor.
Yeah, but he's getting the armor.
But yeah, it was 50-50 for me. So
okay, what about you, Script Doctor? What did you think?
Well, it had a couple of good positive points. Timothy Oliphant was really good. He kind of stole the show. Yeah, because he's the only one that had character. I mean, the Mandalorian was still kind of in his arrested state of kind of stoic and, to the point. Timothy Oliphant also went through an arc. He doesn't hate the Tusken Raiders by the end. There's also that.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was
personally.
Good set piece at the end. Yeah, the fighting the crate dragon, that was cool. I mean, it had its own stumbles there. For some reason, they preface that the whole digging of the trenches to bury the mines to kill the dragon with the underbelly. They brought it way too far out of the cave. Why not like at the entrance of the cave so that you don't have to wait for the dragon to come out so far? Just get it quick.
My question is, why would you even need the Mandalorian to do that? Because it wasn't his plan. It was the Tusken Raiders plan. It's like, why are you even hiring this guy?
Oh, because he's the only one who.
What is he? How is he really contributing to this plan? Right? Like that's the question I was also wondering, especially considering the fact that the villagers, the Tuskens, are digging the trench, and then it's Timothy Oliphant, the Mandalorian, standing way back, away from everyone else as they like tease and antagonize the crate dragon to come out of its cave. I was like, why are they so far away? Like, they're the ones better armored than all of these people. They should be up front.
Yeah.
Then the Mandalorian says this is like their only shot, and I'm thinking, well, no, that's not true. It's your best shot, but it's not your only shot because you still have another bantha with a whole bunch of like explosives strapped to its back. So you clearly have another opportunity to try and kill this thing. So that was a mistake line. And then there was also once we actually see the Tusken Raiders and what they're doing with this crate dragon, we learned that they've been feeding it to try and keep it asleep and docile. And I'm wondering, well, if they've been feeding it to keep it asleep and docile, why is it tearing through the town
Yeah.
getting food? Like, it's just, there's a whole bunch of these weird little inconsistencies plot-wise that could have been completely avoided with another pass at the script. But outside of that, character work was pretty decent. The sets and cinematography was really good, a lot better than last season, especially for the speeder bikes stuff.
Yes.
They cleaned up some of the
100%.
issues they had for that.
Well, they also never showed it
Caltorio.
from. They also never showed it from behind. Instead, you got the side shots for the most part.
Yeah, and if it was shown from behind, he was like kind of like cruising at slow speeds, so you didn't get any of that weird distortion around
Yeah, with the
around
sand.
it.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed that too.
But it was very much it was pretty much a filler episode. I also didn't understand, like, as much as I like the opening with John Leguizamo and the little fight there, it felt like the whole situation was a trap designed to capture Mandalorians so that they could steal their Beskar. I didn't actually believe that he actually knew where a Mandalorian would be, but apparently that's also the case. It's like, oh wait, you actually do know where another Mandalorian is? I thought this was a trap just to lure, lone Mandalorians to steal their armor, because that's what he wanted him there for.
So yeah, let's kind of just I'll my initial reaction was I kind of agree a lot with what you were saying. Script, I really liked the set pieces. I thought were really good, but I thought the plot had too many inconsistencies that needed to be really cleaned up. I thought the Mando was back to the mischaracterization that we get. We get him like basically being a badass in like a couple scenes, and then he's an idiot charging into the monster den like we saw in last season without any planning. I thought they were like, oh, he's talking to the Tusken Raiders to get an idea, but then like the next scene, like, because he says like, how do you kill him? And then they were gonna cut to the next, and there's like, okay, the assumption is he learned about this creature from them but that night, and then the next morning. But then he's like, no, like then they're telling him about the dragon the next morning, like he didn't learn anything. So it's like, what's going on here? Why are you just charging in? And then they're like, and like you were saying, they talked about them being docile, and it's like, well, he just ate a sand person, and it's like, well, maybe they need some new ideas. It's like, okay, what? So you can't even trust them at all.
I mean, that was not a bad joke, but it was just, the setup didn't justify the payoff.
Yeah, so I just, I think it just could have been a lot. I enjoyed it for the most part. It could have been a lot better. I thought the set pieces in the beginning with the fight, the gladiator fight or the wrestling fight or the fight to the death or whatever, and then the Krayt Dragon battle were interesting. I thought the long sweeping shots could have been tightened up a little bit, especially after we'd already been to like the Krayt Dragon's lair, I felt like. And then we went back to the town, and then we had to like go all the way back to the Krayt Dragon's lair, and it was supposed to be short, and then they made it feel like it was not short. Yeah, I thought the music...
Mad Max Fury Road there. We're gonna go to the thing, then we're gonna go back, then we're gonna go back again.
Yeah,
just didn't fit the music. Just, we're gonna go over here, but epic music while we're doing it, and then we're gonna go back to epic.
No, the music's great. It's just poorly placed. Like you're flying to Tatooine. That's not something where you get a fanfare. That's more like, oh, we're going to Tatooine.
Been here before.
Yeah, he was also like, there's no one on Tatooine. I've been there. Like, I've been there like multiple times. I think we only know that he's been there once, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely been there once, but who knows? He could have. I mean, I assume he was there before because he managed to learn the Tusken Raiders language, right?
I did. Yeah, that's the thing that I didn't like either. I thought that was.
I didn't like him speaking it. I liked it better when it was sign language.
Yeah, sign language is better.
Yeah, that was weird when he did the sound thing too. Did he speak with the Tusken Raiders in the first season?
He did, but it was through sign language. Like, that's how they communicated, silently through sign language. And then what's also funny is that he's wearing his helmet, but he holds his hand up to his mouth to like increase the echo, but he's still in a helmet. Like, that's not how sound works. It's
yeah, that was weird.
He's also speaking a lot more in this season. You notice that?
Yeah. Seems,
especially to the Tuskens. He's speaking a lot to the Tuskens.
I think maybe because we got a longer episode, so speaking more because of just that it's longer. So let's kind of just start from the beginning and go through it now. So we got this guy. He's looking for this guy named Gor Koresh, which is the Cyclops creature in this den. It's unclear. I guess he has information that this guy has information about Mandalorians,
which is
right.
weird.
That's
okay.
all.
I don't get this.
Yeah.
So his task is to return the child to its own kind. In order
Yes.
to return the child to its own kind, he needs to find Mandalorians.
That's what he's doing.
Why?
That's what he's hoping. Yeah.
I
It
don't
doesn't
under-
make
yeah.
sense in my mind. I'm like, the whole thing just starts off on the wrong foot.
I think he's under the impression that the armor said that there was a battle between the Mandalorians and Jedi before, and so that there might be Mandalorians still know of the Jedi or something like that, and they can like point
Yeah,
him in another
he's
direction.
looking for another covert to try and find if there's more. Let's try and find if there's another way to locate this species, because all that was left of his covert was the armorer, and she gave him all he knew. So now he has to find another one and hope that they know who the Jedi are and where they can be found. And
Except also,
where do you start to find the Jedi when you know nothing about them, right? It's like, well, you got to find other people that you know in your circles.
well, he should have just asked the mechanic at the at the spaceport, because she's like, "Thank the Force."
Yeah, she knows something. Something's
Yeah.
up there.
Or you just ask, hey, do any of you know, like, Jedi?
I feel
Oh,
like
yeah,
Cara Dune
there's-
should know Jedi though. Like, I don't understand. It's
Yeah.
not so far removed that people wouldn't know of Luke Skywalker.
They might know him from the first Death Star, but again, remember, like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, their parts of their stories are very intimate. They're not like done on a galaxy stage.
I mean,
'Cause as far as
Return
the-
of the Jedi is.
I don't know, because as far as the rest of the galaxy knows, it's Lando Calrissian and Wedge Antilles that blew up the second Death Star and killed the Emperor.
Yeah, but they also know that Luke Skywalker is on the ground with Han Solo, tearing down the.
If they know about that covert mission at that point, yeah, like we don't know, right?
I mean, there's literally the end scene at the first Star Wars movie. He's literally getting a medal in front of the entire Rebel.
Oh, for the first movie, yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't a Jedi then. He was just Luke Skywalker, Rebel pilot.
Right, true. I don't
There's
know. I
also
feel like
the
his
Empire.
myth would grow. I feel like people would know. They would know who Luke Skywalker is, and they would know that he becomes a Jedi.
There's also
know.
Vader, and then there's, like, the dead Emperor.
And they also
or-
like, you have Kane. And if you want to stick with Disney canon, you have like Kanan and the Rebels with Harrison Dula, stuff like that, and Ezra. So I don't know. I feel like people would know about the Jedi.
Oh, they would know about the Jedi. I just don't know if they would know right away that Luke Skywalker is a Jedi as of yet. I mean, I would assume, like, a couple of years after the fact, when word can finally travel throughout the galaxy about the intimate setting and understanding of who played who and what role in that war. Because it took a couple of years for even if you're looking at World War II history, it took a couple of years before everybody knew all the big battles and all the strategies and the big key players in that, because a lot of that information was still considered classified at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree here with what OG Star Wars is saying, though. Everything going on with the Rebels and Luke, Vader looking for Skywalker, etc. They should know. They knew. She's saying they knew in the original lore. John
yeah.
Willis is saying the Jedi were mythological. I think that's before. That's the setting. That's what people thought of the Jedi when Obi-Wan is in the desert and no one knows about them anymore.
Right.
After
They were mythological
Yeah.
prior to the EU books and the prequel trilogy.
Well, I mean, from what the assumption is that the Empire literally wiped them out, so people
Yeah.
would forget about them within a generation, which is something that that has happened here in our own Earth history. Like Egypt has done it, where they just have wiped people out, erased them from everything within a generation. So that is possible. So yeah, I mean, it's possible that they might have forgotten about the Jedi, but I don't know. Cara Dune
It's a big
literally is
galaxy, millions of planets, trillions upon trillions of people, lots of information that can be telephoned incorrectly over from planet to planet, right? So
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we never really see. I don't know. Luke is using his lightsaber on Hoth. He's using it during Empire Strikes Back in the major battle of Hoth. So people would, I don't know.
Well,
People would know
how many
about
pilots
that.
were able to see him chop open that AT-AT and throw in a concussion grenade?
You assume he might have to have been using it to train though. There on Hoth, right?
Maybe. Is he doing that in public? I mean, we don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's so much information. The weird thing for fans to do is to try and understand that from a character perspective inside the world of Star Wars, they're not going to know everything that's going on with regards to the main characters. They might not even be main characters in their lives because they're busy doing other stuff. There's other rebels going on. There's other battles going on. There's other fights to be had. So we only, us as an audience, we can understand the whole story of Luke Skywalker. We're a part of that. But freaking like Owen Lars, before he meets Anakin Skywalker, he's got his own thing going on. He doesn't know what's going on with like the Separatists and the state of the galaxy. He's a freaking farmer on Tatooine with his dad and his new stepmom. Like they don't.
I'm going to correct you on that. He knows full well what's going on in the galaxy. That's why he's not letting Luke.
After the fact,
leave.
He does. Before he gets Luke, before he meets Anakin, he has no clue what the hell's going on in the state of the galaxy and the Separatist movement and all that stuff. He hasn't met Anakin yet. After he meets Anakin, then he does, because then that's his entire motivation for protecting Luke.
Okay, I'm confused.
Okay, so Owen Lars doesn't meet Anakin as an 8-year-old boy. He meets him when he's a grown man. He's on Tatooine, a planet that is completely divorced from the rest of the galaxy. He has no idea about the Separatist movement. He may not have much information about the Clone War at that time. He's just a simple farmer on a planet as far away from the center of the galaxy. The only time he knows what's going on in anything is when he finally meets Anakin and Padme. And then after that, he gets handed a little baby boy and is told, hey, this is the son of Anakin. He's dead and he died because he's a Jedi. You have to take care of him now from Obi-Wan. And then from there, that's when Owen's world opens up to other things going on in the galaxy. Because at that point, he's just a simple father. He's just a simple farmer. Sorry, not father.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think. That's in Revenge of the Sith.
That's in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
With Owen. I don't know. I'd have to look back on that. It's my memory for Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones isn't as fresh.
Because Tatooine's not a player in that Separatist movement as a planet.
No, they're not. That's true. They're there, just kind of their own backwater at that point.
Exactly.
And they're controlled by the Hutt cartel.
Yep. It's like Florida trying to figure out what's going on in Serbia. Like, how many people in the state of Florida know all the stuff that's going on in Serbia right now? They probably don't.
Right.
Georgia.
All right, let's get back to the Mandalorian here for a little bit. So the opening set piece, I actually really enjoyed that. I thought it was really interesting. The one thing I didn't really understand though was this like Cyclopean guy. Like, how did he know that the Mando was coming?
Yeah, like I just figured that was just a lure to get other Mandalorian to come see him. Like just a trap.
I don't understand though. How is it why would he think that other Mandalorian would come see him?
Well, think of it this way. You're a lone Mandalorian, your clan is gone, there's not much of your people around. You're looking to find another clan, and then you hear that this criminal knows of other Mandalorians. So you go seek him out, and then he ends up like killing you and stealing your armor and uses it for profit, and then he spreads the rumor more to get more Mandalorians to come seek him out so that they're basically at a disadvantage and he kills and steals from them. It's a lot of
assumptions though.
There's not a lot of assumptions. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna put out something like, I'm a criminal and I want to get this particular type of person that may or may not be out there. I will spread a rumor that I know where others live. That's it. And you just have to play the waiting game while you go ahead and do whatever other criminal enterprise you have. And if someone comes your way, you've got your plan all set and ready.
I do think there's a huge assumption there, though. I'm going to disagree with you on this one, because the assumption there is that this Cyclops guy knows about the Mandalorians tribe being wiped out, and that he's searching for other people.
No, it's not his tribe. It's just in general, aren't the Mandalorians known to have been sacked in the Purge?
Yeah.
So he's basically preying on that. He's coming up with a lie saying, yes, I know where others have survived. And if survivors come find him, he will promise them that location, but it's all a duck blind just to get their Beskar if they still did survive.
Right. The assumption, though, is that they're searching for their own people instead of just maybe blending in with the society or something. I don't know. That's a huge assumption.
But we know that the Mandalorians are trying to stick together and they're hiding, right? We know they don't take off their helmets. We know that
I can just throw your same argument right back at you that you just made with the Jedi. We know that as audience members. How would this Cyclopean guy know that?
how the Cyclopean guy know that the Jedi no longer exist and that the Mandalorians no longer exist?
Right. How would he know that the Mandalorians are searching out other Mandalorians?
Well, who's to say he has to know about that at all? He's looking for Beskar, right?
That's that's what we find out.
And who makes Beskar? Mandalorians.
Well, we know the Beskar use the Mandalorians use the Beskar in their armor, but we also know that it's extremely rare, and it seems like the Empire is the one that actually has the stash of it. But that's what we know. But yeah,
and we know that the Mandalorians were a key player in the Clone War from the cartoon.
Yes, they were featured.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're a key player.
Key player or featured. They were definitely quite involved, and they were also considered, like the Jedi, legendary in battle. And who's to say? I mean, he's not making a big giant assumption. A negative assumption. He's just saying if Mandalorians are still around and they're probably looking to rebuild, they'll need to find others. So I'm going to plant a story saying that I can help them find others, and then in reality, I'm just going to steal whatever valuables they have on them and kill them.
That's a huge. I mean, can you? Okay, if like just think of that from like from just ordinary perspective. Would you? Would you just simply just like, okay, I'm gonna just start my business. My whole business model is going to be on the assumption that Mandalorian is looking for other Mandalorians so I can steal their Beskar.
Wait, John,
the whole business model? I don't think it's the whole business model. I think it's just one aspect. Think of it like the fake, the duck blinds of the Underground Railroad during the Civil War.
Or think about it like the internet freaking trolls, or like those snares that they have, those little send you like, hey, your account comes, are you a customer of AT&T or Time Warner? We have an outstanding thing on your account. If you're an AT&T Warner customer, please contact blah 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 blah, and they get you all your information, and then they just lay a trap.
They send you a text, click this link, then they steal your information because they usually just happen to be of a subscriber to a service that they're advertising.
Phishing scam. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Phishing scam.
So it's just an intergalactic phishing scam, except with Mandalorians and intent to steal their armor.
And it's just one of his operations. Like he's clearly a criminal that does other things. He gambles on fights. He has goons.
I thought about that is I haven't drank enough.
I think this is one of the things that needed to be cleaned up, though. I still think you're making a lot of assumptions that this guy is sending out to just try and get Mandalorians to show up because they're going to be somehow searching for other Mandalorians, when we know that we know as viewers that they work in like these covens, and then that they've become like nomadic people now. We've never seen them actually like searching out any other of their own people at this point. We know that they have the foundlings. The only person we know that's searching out other Mandalorians is Mando. But
how would those coverts form first, right? They have to find each other in order to form a covert, especially if they're displaced.
Not true. They could have been survivors of attacks that weren't wiped out, and they were already found together.
True, but they could find other survivors. It's not the same. Like, take a look at with regards to World War II Germany. There were people that would say, hey, if you're trying to seek refuge, come here. And it was actually a duck blind just to get them re-round up again.
Right. Yes.
That's the exact same thing that this guy's kind of doing here. This even with whole families or groups, he could do the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. See, you're actually providing an example that would make sense. It was not clear that that's what he was doing, though. It's only clear when he's like, I want your Beskar armor. I don't know. I don't.
But how do you get Beskar armor from a Mandalorian? You got to lure them with something, right? So
it just needed to be made way more clear that that's what that this guy was like. He had lured him there to try and steal his stuff. I just don't think that was really made abundantly clear. And then he actually had the information, like you were saying. So again,
I thought him having the information was ridiculous. That was far more ridiculous than him just getting the Mandalorian there, because it was clearly an ambush. He had the guys ready with the guns pointed at him and everything. Like the Cyclops character was thinking ahead to an extent, and it just didn't work out.
I guess he was. I guess, yes, he had the guys there ready to ambush him in the middle of a public,
in the middle of a fighting ring, match,
where everyone else is there, and like it just seemed That's what I'm saying. That just seemed ridiculous too, because it was just, you would get him in, you would take him away somewhere else where you could like really get rid of him. You wouldn't just make a, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to go with the vibe of that planet. People just kill people in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I think the Cyclops guy owned that establishment, didn't he?
It was unclear.
Yeah, it wasn't 100% clear on that.
Yeah.
He just tells the guard at the front or the bouncer at the front, like, "Hey, I'm here to see this guy," and he just lets him in. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he just walks in. Yeah, and then we do see that the one Gamorrean does like try and like
leaps
spear
over
him
the ring to kill him.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I did like that. So like I liked all that stuff. I liked the fighting. I thought that was a really interesting piece. I did enjoy that stuff. And then he uses his like, what is it called, the whistles or whatever, to kill all those guys, and then
like the Whispering Eagle or something like that.
Yeah, that upgrade that he has, that he supposedly only has like a couple uses of it, but he uses it seemingly quite often.
Yeah, how he gets that refilled, that's I'd like to know that story.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. And then so he eventually gets his information that he has to go to Tatooine. And he lands on Tatooine. I really like the droid scene where the droids are being stupid and getting like sucked into the vent. I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, and like the R5 unit that the Owens almost bought, which showed up.
Yeah,
I didn't like the mechanic.
Oh, Amy Sedaris, she was a little big. Yeah.
The tone that she brings to the scene, overall episode, it just doesn't match with the rest of what's supposed to be happening.
Well, so you have to remember she was from the last episode. She was from last season.
Yeah, and it didn't work there either. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I don't know. I just felt that it was just kind of her personality, a little bit different than what we've seen. It worked for me. What, like, you just didn't like the way that the character was written?
Yeah, and then Favreau was writing that character too, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with that. I liked how she was like, she remembered the Mandalorian and was like telling the droids like not to get it, and then she was like, "Oh, you suddenly changed your mind? How your like worldview has changed? Get on it, boys!" I don't know. I thought that was just kind of mocking him. It was a little bit funny. I thought that was. I enjoyed that. I don't know. I thought that was like a little light humor, and I kind of enjoyed that. I really like the droids getting sucked in to and just seeing them being stupid, because that's just kind of a throwback from Phantom Menace when they were being stupid. But yeah, the R5 was a total member berry thing. I think Favreau had like shown off R5 from like the first season, right? He showed a picture on Instagram, I think, from the first season, so we knew he was going to show up eventually. Maybe was he there in the first season? I don't remember.
I can't remember that. I remember this one specifically because they have like a camera focused right up on the burn mark where the motivator exploded in Star Wars.
Yeah, and she specifically calls him R5 too. Yeah. We get an explanation of why he doesn't just fly into Moss. Is it Pelgo or Pelago?
I think it's Pelgo, but it starts with a P and it has a go in it.
Yeah, I thought there's like different pronunciations through it. So he learns about this Moss Pelago area, which has been wiped out by bandits, which was an old mining settlement. It's not on the map, but she says it's there, and then he can't use his ship to fly out there, so he's got to use the speeder bike because
the ship needs a repair. Like that's what he basically said. Give it a once over, I guess.
Well, no, she tells him that he can't use the ship because the bandits would see him coming from a mile away or whatever, and would like expose himself. She says that.
What does it matter? He just has to find the Mandalorian that's supposed to be in town.
Well, I don't know. That's why.
Or they got to raid the city if they see him a mile away, or shit.
I'm just saying that's the explanation that they gave us in the script for him to get on the speeder bike instead of fly a ship out there. Because he talks about like using his ship to go. He talks about going back and later on he talks about going back, getting his ship and blasting the crate dragon from the sky, which he still probably could have done because they technically had to bait the dragon out anyways, right?
Yeah, but apparently the vibrations from the sky will keep it hidden under the sand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was weird explanation too.
Like the crate dragon, not a sandworm, but I guess you have to change that for for Denis Villeneuve and Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But so like when he's taking, we get like the scene of him like flying out to Mos Pelgo or whatever, Pelgo, and he's breaking bread with the Sand People. I didn't even remember him breaking bread with the Sand People. That's how like forgettable some of the first season was. I didn't remember him doing that. And I just was like, I didn't like it. I was like, these people are like, they like are bad people. They just like attack you for no reason. And they're just like violent
Scavengers. Yeah, man.
Yeah, violent scavengers. And he's like, just I'm chummy with them. And I guess that was foreshadowing what we would get. And then what do we get here? We get introduced to Timothy Oliphant as Cobb Vanth. He's the marshal. We get that before we get into that town. Like it was really that long shot of showing this old like Western town. It looked like everyone was like down on their luck, defeated.
And they're all the town was built on stilts, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. You definitely get it was definitely the Old West feeling that you get from that little town there.
Also,
I didn't
foreshadowing.
How explain that one?
So the sandworm comes in and rocks a lot of the sand up.
Oh,
and so the foundations have to be built a little higher because the sand always continues to get shifted upwards.
I'm surprised it doesn't sink in, because wouldn't you leave a tunnel behind?
Yeah, you saw some when the Crate Dragon was moving through. You saw some buildings collapse, but others didn't. I thought that was weird too. I was like, why aren't they all like just falling into like the sinkhole left by the Crate Dragon? That was kind of weird. Yeah, that was really weird. That's not what it is in the. It's called Moss. I don't know if that's a spelling error.
Maybe it's just the D and the S are close together, so she probably just hit the wrong key.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I just the whole like scene with the introduction. I didn't like. Why were the people so like down on their luck? Because when you talk to Cobb Vanth, he's like, I got rid of the mining collective, and like people are able to like be successtal now mining and
it looked like a self-sufficient town where they didn't need anyone else to function. They looked pretty good.
I don't know. I thought all the people looked down on their luck. There was no one in the bar. Like it was empty. And all the people were just like checking out Mando. Like, is this another guy coming to like terrorize us or something? And it's like they had been like constantly getting terrorized, but then you get Cobb Vanth and he's like, oh, I got rid of all the people who were terrorizing us. So I was like, what's going on here?
Why does it feel like a ghost town when walking in?
Yeah, so I thought that was
just
weird.
Don't like strangers coming in. That's the sense that I got. But I didn't need
5 minutes of them staring down the Mandalorian.
It felt like 5 minutes. It was really more like 20 seconds, but yeah, it just felt long.
It was because they moved the camera so slow. That's why.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, because the whole thing was like they were supposed to be. There was like the Amy Sedaris' character says that there's bandits been attacking this place. Then we find out like he's dealt with all the bad guys. He's dealt with all of them and kept them out. And I was just so like, I don't know. I just thought that was just they were trying to play up on the bandits part when you're first introduced into the town, and then you get this scene like, okay, there really aren't bandits attacking the town. The problem is a Crate Dragon. And
the Crate Dragon, and I guess occasionally the Tusken Raiders, but not so much.
Yeah, the Crate Dragon.
Yeah, crate worm. That's what it is. It's a crate worm.
The Crate Worm. Yeah, it's not a dragon yet. Yeah. OG Star Wars is saying it's supposed to be Freetown. Yeah, we've covered that on Bounty and Comics with our articles. The town isn't even supposed to be called Mos Pelgo anymore. It's supposed to be called Freetown in their continuity, but they were calling it Mos Pelgo and Pelgo or whatever, however you say it in the show.
Favreau's just trying to, I guess, right the ship, so to speak, in every little detail he can.
Yeah, it's like
screw those books.
Yeah,
Chuck Wendig can go to hell.
All Tatooine towns start with Moss. We're gonna keep that going. One of the other things I thought was kind of funny. After I didn't know what it was called. I just called it a desert monster in my notes because they didn't call it a Crate Dragon. They hadn't called it a Crate Dragon yet. But after the Crate Dragon like goes through the town, eats the bantha, the Yoda, the baby Yoda's hiding in the pot. I thought that was funny.
That was cute. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the spit pie. Yeah, I thought I enjoyed that part. And then we get the flashback scene. So, well, you get the deal where he has to kill the monster to get the armor, like you were talking about the RPG aspect of it, Don. So it's like get your mission from the quest giver. So that's literally what it was. So then we get a flashback as they're like, Cobb Vanth is like, I know where the Krayt Dragon lives. I'll take you there. It's not very far away. They jump on their speeder and they meet the whole flashback scene with the mining collector. And I thought that was really weird too. It's just like, oh, the Death Star blew up and the mining collector showed up that day and like started executing people in the bar right away. It's like, what?
But Tatooine wasn't under like the strict thumb of the Empire. They were like the Empire could go there if they wanted to, but they didn't really go there that often. I mean, Vader said send a detachment down. He didn't say alert our people on the planet to find the missing droids in the plans.
So I'm gonna say that there's an assumption here that they maybe put a garrison on the planet or something like that.
I'm thinking yes, and at some point they must have put a garrison on Tatooine just before Luke went to rescue Han from Jabba. And I guess the gangsters were cool with it.
For sure. Because we only see them patrolling Mos Eisley looking for
the droids. Right? That's it. Yeah.
In the original trilogy, and I guess in some of the comics we see Vader like cutting a deal with, like in the new Marvel comics, like Vader cuts a deal with Jabba the Hutt for supplying the Empire with goods. So you have that too. John,
because wasn't Tatooine like the smuggler's haven? Like that's where the criminals of the Empire would go to like get a respite before they go on another job or something.
I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, because obviously you have Jabba, Boba Fett would take jobs for Jabba.
What was Obi-Wan's line about?
Never find a more wretched hide of scum and villainy. For Mos Eisley. Yeah. So like, I mean, clearly means that like, would the Empire really allow that if they had a full proper occupation of Tatooine? I don't think so.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
They're all about subjugating people and bringing order to those planets. But yeah, so I thought that was just really weird. The mining collective just like randomly showed up and just started executing the people of this town. Like, wouldn't they? I mean, I don't.
Them?
Yeah, it was like these are the people that are mining whatever they're mining out there. Wouldn't you want them there? And like just like let me just show up and just start shooting people. Like I was like, it's weird. Maybe you would shoot like a couple as an example to get people to fall in line, but I don't know.
What is there worth mining on Tatooine aside from sand and dirt? Because you can farm water from the moisture in the air, but like, what else does Tatooine have?
Spice.
It's Kessel.
No, well, Don's making a Dune.
I know he's definitely making a great Dune joke.
I don't know. They don't tell us what they're mining. They say it's a mining town, but we have no idea what they're mining. So. Maybe we'll find out later.
Maybe.
But yeah, I just thought I thought the whole flashback scene was weird. I mean, they pretty much just ripped off what Wendig had wrote in his book about Cobb Vanth getting the armor from the Jawas. So I already knew about that, and they just put that in.
I thought Kathleen Kennedy said there was no source material they could pull from.
Well, they're creating their own, right?
They're creating their own, while at the same time now acknowledging the legends as canon. It's so weird.
Canon-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was, again, I pointed out this earlier. He charges into the den without info or learning about the area. So that was I thought they had like arrived at the den when all those like dogs show up, and then he's like, like does the dog noise, and then it's like, oh, come here, Spike, and then like he starts feeding him, and I was just like rolling my eyes so hard at that. I was like, come on, like, and the Sand People came out, and I was like, oh, of course, that's why he's able to do that, because they showed him like being friendly with the Sand People. So now he's obviously has some relationship with these dogs now. It's like
Tusken dogs.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I did not like that at all. It was just I don't know, I didn't like that. It was just like, dude, let the dogs attack him and he has to kill him or something like that. And then the Sand People are like, oh no, we'll want peace or whatever. I thought that I don't know, I just thought that could have been written a little bit better. Yeah. And then they have these dog pets now. It's like, well, how do they keep track of them when they're traveling in their packs, right? We know that the Banthas travel in a single line. Well, these dogs, are they traveling in a single line too? Who knows? They disappeared after that scene.
Oh,
Yeah, they're only at the camp,
womp
and then they
rats.
disappear again.
Oh, those are supposed to be womp rats?
No, they have no
you're
tail.
saying they're womp rats.
No, they're not. How? They don't have any tails. Womp rats have tails,
Well, the crate dragons are supposed to have legs.
and they're
so-
kind of a little small because aren't they just a little over 2 meters? Womp rats are a little over 2 meters. That did not look like a 2-meter animal.
Yeah,
That looked like maybe a 3.5, 4-footer.
it was pretty big, yeah.
I mean, it was big, but it wasn't 2 meters.
All right, so what else do we have? Yeah, I didn't like the wild animal stuff. That was so stupid. And then we find out the sand people want to kill the crate dragon too. And their reason, who knows what is their reason for killing him? I don't even know.
I know. They
What is
showed
their
it at
reason?
the end. It's
Well, yeah,
they
they
want the pearl.
it's just like the Jawas. It's like a repeat of that same episode from
Yeah.
the first season, I felt like.
From what I understand, it's taken directly from KOTOR.
Well, like the crate pearl is valuable for some reason.
Yeah, I guess in the game they use it to create a really strong armor. But I don't know. I don't know KOTOR.
Okay. Well, you see them pick that up, and I was just like, well, what is they didn't tell you what it was. I guess you're supposed to just know what that is.
I
It's
guess
supposed to be the
people that
inside
played
joke or the
KOTOR-
inside
Easter egg.
Easter egg for
For
hardcore Star Wars fans, I guess.
Kosher fans. It's an abandoned Sarlacc pit where the actual crate dragon is living, but Timothy Olyphant's Cobb Vance said he knew where it was, but it's the sand people who are the ones that actually take them there to where it lives. It's like, okay, like what?
Yeah, did he or did he not know where it was? He's like, no, it's this direction, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll find it.
Yeah, I was
Good
just
thing we
like,
found those sand people.
yeah. So that's what you're talking about. Like, clean that up a little bit in the script there. That definitely could have been cleaned up. And then we were talking about this earlier. It's it's a Sarlacc pit, and apparently the insinuation is that the sand people ate the Sarlacc. Did you
No,
guys
the
catch that?
crate dragon ate the Sarlacc.
Oh, that was the insinuation. The crate dragon ate the Sarlacc. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I guess that makes more sense. That does make more sense that the crate dragon would eat it, not the sand people. Okay.
It's weird because I'm always fascinated by the Sarlacc pit because it's clearly this giant beast thing that just kind of plants itself and stays put for eons.
Yeah, it's like a plant. It's like a Venus flytrap plant that lives forever. That's kind of how I thought of it.
But the abandoned
Yeah.
Sarlacc pit is a cave.
Well, I think a cave would be how it kind of voids its bowels after it's feasted for 1,000 years. Like you have to have somewhere for it to go, right? So you'd have probably like dozens mile-long caves in all various directions.
Yeah, so it's like a plant. Like it has all the roots, right?
Yeah, like it's a root type of thing, but it's just like a hollow cave. It carves out a cave so that it can like expel its waste. Because I mean, whatever it eats that comes in there, it's got to digest it, and then natural progress of digestion is expelling what you can't. So where does that go if it just is in a dune? It has to go somewhere. And if it built on top of itself, it would just rise further and further out of the actual sand. If it's like stacked on top of its own crap, so like it has to go somewhere else, right? So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how a fantasy creature of this type would be able to maintain a singular location that for instance Jabba's floating sail barge could always go to throw people in, and at the same time not have it disrupt its own ecosystem.
Yeah, that's kind of how I imagined it as well, like the way how you're describing it. And then you assume the crate dragon went in and ate it.
Yeah, just went up
Somehow.
its butt and then just feasted on stuff inside out, so to speak.
It was Ant-Man. He got Thanos. It was Ant-Man.
He got
Got him.
yeah. Thanos
Got
got
him.
Except Ant-Man wasn't eaten from the back end, so it's...
Or Thanos wasn't eaten from the back end.
He
Yeah.
wasn't
I never
he
thought
wasn't
I'd do
eating
this
Thanos.
In any stream regarding to the Mandalorian, but here we go.
Why would you not? You wouldn't ring the bell for Cara Dune, huh?
Yeah, but not in this episode.
Oh, well, she wasn't in it. Right. What else do we have here? Krayt dragon live, but sand people take them. Yeah, the Krayt dragon is is it just like it just eats the Tusken Raider instead of the bantha. It's like okay. I just thought that was weird too. Um, and then Mando volunteers the village to fight the Krayt dragon, and so then they have to go back to the village to like recruit them, right?
Yep.
And
And
then
basically outlie that there's going to be a peace between these two tribes, so to speak.
Was he lying? I thought that was. I just feel like he was. That's what they were. He was saying like these people are actually honorable people and they will stick to their oath as they have for like 1,000 years or something like that.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
was
mean,
just
the
like,
context is that if they do this, they won't be raided by the Tusken Raiders ever again, unless they
they attack
they make the
first.
first
Yeah.
act. Yeah, which seems reasonable if you want to make this type of deal. Like if the Tuskens are like, yeah, we keep the Krayt dragon and everything in it, and in return we just don't raid you ever again unless you open fire on us.
I was. That's one of those scenes where you need to have. There should have been someone in the town that would have like said like, no, this is we're not. We should not do this. These people have like killed our people before. They just raided us. Why would we ever work with them? We
They
don't
had
need
people do
them.
that. Yeah,
Uh,
they had
I
that
didn't-
one heavy guy with the weird eyes
he
say
said
that.
he just
He was
like
kind
was
of
like
washed.
yeah, he just was like, there are evil people, and then he shut up like after like one
Oh, not
line.
the bartender said that, but there was another guy, like a normal human, that was saying that also. But like they didn't even humor the argument. They just said, "No, this is what's happening." And then I think Timothy Olyphant said, "Oh, watch out for the school."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't like he made like one. It was like a one line, and then they shut up. There wasn't
Yeah.
like an actual like this is a bad idea. We shouldn't be teaming with these people. We can't trust these people. They've been attacking us. Why do we even need them? We can just go and like attack this thing by ourselves.
It was missing the old prospector to be like, the Mando
Yeah.
speaks the truth. The Tusken Raiders may be savage, but they stay true to their word. You know, that type of thing. Like you need that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, where maybe he had like he might have been with the Tusken Raiders and had like an experience or something, like survived and
Or
like,
maybe
could-
yeah, like he was kidnapped by them and they traded for his safety as a child, and then he's
yeah, something like that. I don't know. I also don't like the whole idea of trying to humanize them personally. I like seeing them as the people who are trying to club Luke Skywalker for just being a human being in their in
taking
their territory.
his taking apart his old car.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I want to envision the Tusken Raiders. And then okay, so where am I at here? Oh, and then the whole like Mando tries to sell it as his plan, but it's like the Tusken Raiders plan, and they have like all the people there, like the I guess the rocks they threw in the sand, and they have the Krayt dragon. I thought it was kind of funny where they were like, "That's not to scale." Yes, it is. It is to scale. No, it's not. It can't be. It's not that big. And they're like, "It is to scale." So that I don't know. I thought that was kind of amusing, the dialogue there. But I just thought the whole idea that this is like Mando's plan. It should have been Mando's plan, but it wasn't. It was the Tusken Raiders plan. So it's like why would you even they don't even need this guy. Why are you giving him his armor? You don't
He's not doing anything, yeah.
Play with the Tusken Raiders.
It's not till the very, very end that he kind of does something.
Right, yeah, he does it when the plan has failed, the original plan failed.
Yeah.
Which you knew it was going to. It was like it was so obvious that plan was going to fail.
Oh, the Tuskens were torturing Shmi.
Yes, they were.
Oh, I remember that now.
Yeah, that's why Anakin goes and wrecks them. Yeah. Yeah, so OG Star Wars is saying Tuskens don't trade lives like that. They will keep the human and test them through torture, or survive will become a part of the tribe, which was what they were doing with Shmi. Oh, is that how they work? They torture humans and then the humans become a Tusken Raider?
Yeah, I guess we don't really know what species they are underneath all the gear, right? Like, are they human or are they something else?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. OG Star Wars. They were trying, like, when I say humanized, they were trying to, like, I guess I should be like, they're trying to sympathetic is maybe the proper term I should have used. They were trying to make them sympathetic. Is that might be a better word for me to describe that?
The villain.
Yeah,
I guess they're
it's-
being tried to made not as savage as we originally perceived them.
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, So this is the one thing I did have issue with the Krayt Dragon fight. We saw that thing like literally book it, like it booked it.
Oh,
through
it was
that town.
teleporting. That was
Yeah.
my big problem. It was
Well-
a teleporting freaking dragon.
Well, not only was it teleporting in the final fight, but like when it was like coming out of the cave, it was like so slow. But when it was moving through the town, it was like a freaking steam engine train. Like it was just like you weren't
It was
stopping
booking it. Yeah, it was fast.
Locomotive. And then
See,
when
for
it's
a
coming,
second, I thought that was a second Krayt Dragon coming up from behind. And I'd be
That's
like, that would be so much better.
that's what I thought too. I thought it was a second
Like a
Krayt Dragon.
Hydra?
I was like, oh. Well, no, I just thought it was like a mate, like a male and a female or something like that.
I
That's
thought
what
it
I
was
was
a
thinking.
Hydra, several heads.
Oh, that could have been interesting too. That's what I was thinking. And then it literally started like teleporting. It was like right below them. And then it was like on the top of the mountain, like spitting venom. And it's like, what? How did it get there?
And then the top of another mountain behind them.
And then it was like, yeah, and then it came behind them and it was like attacking them from that.
But the second one, that would have really upped the stakes there. Like they hit the underbelly of the first one, but they didn't kill it, so it kind of retreats. And then like the mama bear comes out from behind, be like, "You just went after my kid," and then starts going after them. And like, we got to kill that one too.
Yeah,
That would have been way more interesting.
That's what they did in the spoiler series, the Godzilla anime series, the first one on Netflix. So they go back to Earth to like reclaim it after like Godzilla has like terraformed it into his like paradise. They think they see this Godzilla creature and they take it on and they defeat it and they're like, yeah, we got it, like we finally got it, Earth is ours again. And then you realize that that's literally a spawn of Godzilla, and the real Godzilla is like 10 times bigger, and like it just starts wrecking them. They like have to retreat. Like, so that you're exactly what you're saying is what they should have done, because that is actually what I thought was going to happen when it like teleported. Yeah, I thought that would have been way better. It would have been, the stakes would have been like way higher. Like I don't know. I didn't feel like the stakes were there. Like
No, they really weren't. It's like they could always run away.
yeah.
And apparently this thing travels by going through the sand, so that makes it either slow or fast, depending on the circumstances. It's really weird.
Yeah, the way it moved was no good. Don is saying in the chat, more like crack meth doesn't increase your speed like that. He might have had some kind of more powerful drug, the Tatooine crack, and that lets you teleport too.
It goes to light speed in the sand only.
And so after their plan fails, they should have retreated. I think they should have retreated. Their plan fails. They should have been like, we need to retreat. But no, he's like, let's go, like charge up the mountain and start shooting it with our blasters that does nothing, because we saw like it did nothing before. So
yeah, the context was missing. Were they trying to like distract it so that the others could get away? Because I couldn't tell if that was the case or not. It was let's go after it now.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, Mando resorts to charge in with no plan when his other plan fails. It was like, oh, of course, this is what he does. Like he's I don't know. That was a little frustrating to me.
It was all Tuskens getting slimed, though.
Oh, really? There were none of the.
I looked for
None of the regular
townspeople?
villagers got
the
hurt.
villagers. Like none of them were in the shots getting slimed.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Mandalorian and the Marshal were a good 2 kilometers away from the rest of them.
Yeah, they were so
Just in the
far.
background holding on to the detator.
It's just like, oh, we're gonna hire this guy to kill. Like again, we're gonna hire this guy to kill this beast, and then he's got us on the front lines now. Like, wouldn't someone have been like, why are you not up here on the front lines? We hired you. We're giving you our marshal's armor that has literally saved our town and was able to save us from the mining collective. And you're just back here, just like chilling out. I thought you were supposed to be a Mandalorian feared killer. You get up here.
Get your armor
fight
dirty.
this thing. You also have like the jetpack, so you can maybe evade it better. Like, I don't know. It's that again, little tiny things that would have made a vast improvement to what we got. And I'm being pretty nitpicky here. because I did enjoy it overall.
I think we all are.
The set piece is good. Just
Yeah.
the way that they got there was kind of like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. John Willis is saying, sounds like The Witcher. Toss a coin to your Mandalorian. Well, The Witcher and the Mandalorian are similar characters, right? The Witcher takes tasks. He takes on bounties to kill monsters, and the Mandalorian was take originally in the first season. He was taking on bounties to take on. To provide for the
to pay for his covert,
Mandalorian.
to keep them alive.
Yeah. So yeah, they're similar in the way they act like that. But I don't even know why I guess he just wanted the Beskar armor at that point, and they kind of said that was part of his code.
Yeah, for non-Mandalorians to have the armor that are not foundlings is, I guess, a thing now. I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay, so from what I remember, Boba Fett is not a Mandalorian.
Not supposed to be.
We don't know that, do we? Is he? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because we know the Mandalorian isn't an actual Mandalorian. We know Boba Fett's a clone of Jango Fett, and
Yeah,
he wears Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, because I remember somewhere somebody saying that the Boba Fett was not an actual Mandalorian. He had appropriated the armor, and
Well, remember, Jango Fett had the blue Mandalorian armor, and then Boba Fett has the green one because it's not the.
Right.
I don't think it's the same armor. I don't think it's his dad's armor.
I thought it did, and this is the colors faded over time, or he reforged it and repainted it.
Maybe. Because he picks up the helmet at the end there, but I don't think he takes it with him from Geonosis.
but yeah, it's just like, okay, there was a Mandalorian on Tatooine, but that Mandalorian wasn't really a Mandalorian.
Well,
It was Boba Fett. That was going on in my mind. Like, okay, this guy was a bounty hunter, and I think it was known that he wasn't a Mandalorian.
yeah, Cobb Vanth. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, either Cobb Vanth or Boba Fett. I think it was a widely understood that he wasn't a Mandalorian.
Well, they know Cobb Vanth wasn't a Mandalorian because he was wearing Mandalorian armor, though. So,
Right.
we don't know. The guy thought he was a Mandalorian, right? The Cyclops guy
bartender?
thought he was a Mandalorian.
Oh.
The bartender didn't know. He just saw because he was like, "What's a Mandalorian look like?" And he was like, "A guy that wears that looks like me." And he's like,
Okay,
"Oh,
that's
you
right.
mean the marshal?" And then the marshal shows up at the door or whatever. Yeah. So I just feel like there's just so much stuff that we don't know about the Mandalorians, and I don't think they're doing a really good job of explaining them. I think they
do not.
It contradicts so much of what we know from the Mandalorians in the Clone Wars animated stuff, which is where we really got to know a lot about the Mandalorians outside of like EU stuff, where like Boba Fett survives and like goes on to train alongside Luke Skywalker and trains the Jedi and stuff like that, and he has a heel turn. I guess it's an opposite of a heel turn because he is a heel and he turns into like a good guy. So OG Star Wars says, I find it ironic that they said Fets can't be Mandalorian because they are bounty hunters, yet it's okay for Mando to be a bounty hunter.
She's also saying that the irony is that they
Yeah.
said Fets can't be Mandos because they weren't born on Mandalorian. Yet he wasn't born on Mando either. Mandalore, sorry.
Is that what Disney is saying? Disney says that that Boba Fett can't be a Mandalorian because he wasn't born on Mandalore. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so we don't know.
He's like thinking that Lucas actually said this about Boba Fett.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
Boba Fett wasn't even originally Boba Fett. He was Jaster Morel, an Imperial who found Mandalorian armor and used that to become like the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy.
That's what I heard. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
Where's
from
that
the old
from?
character guide from like the mid
oh,
'90s.
okay. And he takes on the name Boba Fett.
Yeah, he uses it as like just a code name, so to speak.
Pseudonym? Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously Lucas changed that because he is Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones.
The prequels,
Yeah.
yeah.
the son of Jango, or the clone of Jango Fett that he raises as his own son. Yeah, I don't know. So we're kind of at an hour here. Did we want to just? I mean, we kind of went through the whole episode, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Oh, the last scene.
Oh, with Tamira Morrison. They totally used the Boba Fett music again. Did you hear that script?
Yep.
Yeah, they just used different instruments though. I think, right?
Yeah, because I guess he was the one that found Fennec Shan at the end, because he has like the cape, which we kind of saw around the boots.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he had like a bow and arrow or something, right? Well, that's the reason why they didn't. Isn't that why they had her like kind of narrate part of the open the get caught up part too?
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. OG Star Wars is saying Jaster was a Mandalorian who found Jango as a child and adopted him as a Mandalorian.
Oh, that's in the rewrites after the Clone Wars. Yeah.
Is that so? That when you say rewrites, that's like Disney stuff now, or
no, that's like George
stuff?
Lucas doing his rewrite canon in 2000 with the Attack of the Clones, because there's the essentials. There's the Star Wars Essential Guide to Characters that was released in like '96. And it's got Owen Lars is actually like Obi-Wan's brother, and Jaster Morrell is Boba Fett, and it's got a whole bunch of other stuff there. Just little character bios of everyone that's been in the books and the movies. And it shows like it's got a story about how Han Solo encountered Dengar, who is the mummy wrapped bounty hunter in Empire Strikes Back that has no lines. Like it's got all this other cool stuff, but most of that was completely discarded and removed once George Lucas started his prequel trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That makes sense. Because like when I like think of like canon, I just try and stick with like what happened in the original trilogy, what happened in the prequel trilogy, and then like I look at like the Clone Wars animated series, and then the Clone Wars movie, and then that's pretty much like the core canon that I look at.
So you don't do KOTOR, you don't do.
No, I mean I played KOTOR, and I played a little bit of the Force Unleashed. I mean I played the Jedi Fallen Order thing, and I love the Old Republic, the MMO. I thought that some of the storylines in that were great, but I mean the KOTOR works because it's like so like detached, like so far away from the core stuff, and like you're also like I'm also like see it as a video game, so like I can accept that in there that there's like a force healing ability because it's part of a game. It's part of gameplay. As far as like using it in the Mandalorian and in the sequel trilogy, is just I just can't stand that because it totally ruins Vader's like story and his fall and then his redemption and everything. Like why would he even fall if he knew that there was a way to to heal people? Prevent them from dying. So yeah, that's and it seems like it's not a. It seems like it was a com. It seems like it's pretty common when Baby Yoda can do it and then Rey can do it. So it seems like it's not like that out of the ordinary coming from us viewing that. So I enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna just go back to kind of what I said in the beginning. Just echo a lot what you said too. Script is just like I think it could have been written a little bit better. I know we disagreed on the why he was like showing up on that planet. I think just maybe like one or two lines like, oh, there's this guy like who knows about the Mandalorians or whatever, and that's why we're here. But you don't get that. And he just like shows up and is like, I want to talk to whatever the guy's name is, Gore or something. I think is it Gore Koresh.
Gore Koresh.
And then and then the guy's like, we don't talk about. Like, oh, this is another one thing we don't talk about. He says, what does he say? He says we don't talk about business straight up, and then he literally shoots the guy like a minute later.
Yeah.
I gotcha. It's like what? Okay, it's like okay. Yeah, I don't know. So I enjoyed it for the most part. I think there's just a lot of little tiny issues that could have improved it, made it a lot better.
Yeah,
Skull Skullman is saying, all I care about is a good story. No matter the lore, The Mandalorian brings back the roots of what make Star Wars great.
The Django story was canon, published in 2009.
Yeah. Well, like the Boba Fett stuff, I just pulled up the essential guide that I have here, like digitally. It's published in 1995. And the second paragraph says, long before Luke Skywalker journeyed off Tatooine to fulfill his destiny as a Jedi, Boba Fett was known as Journeyman Protector Jaster Morrell. Years past, the ugly young law enforcement officer on the world of Concord Down, had killed another protector, and though the dead man had been corrupt, disgracing his office and uniform, Morrell was still impressed by the murder. And it just goes on to say how he found his Mandalorian armor and took the name Boba Fett. And that was in 1995. So that was basically what was canon at that point.
Yeah, because that was what, 5 years before
about 4 years before episode 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I try not to get too bogged down in like all the extracurricular canon with like the encyclopedias and all of that stuff, and I really just try and focus on like what was in the movies, and then Lucas worked on the Clone Wars animated stuff in the Clone Wars movie as well. So that's kind of what I focus on. I know OG Star Wars is like she's talking about. It was in Menace Revealed Omnibus.
Oh yeah, those are all after this stuff. Like because George Lucas is the first to rewrite his own canon. Like that's just the the thing. Like what Disney's doing is not any really different. It's just they're just doing it for their own stuff as opposed to something where Lucas is trying to build a bit more, I guess.
So for me, when you say rewrite his own canon, I don't know. I feel like from what I understand is that he gave people a lot of leeway to write stuff, and then they kind of wrote stuff that was stuff that he wanted to go back and do.
Yeah, there's some cases like that. I mean, the whole idea of Anakin being really good mechanic, that came from the books for Anakin Solo, who was just a really good mechanic.
Right.
Yeah, like the whole Boba Fett lore stuff with Josh Morrell, he completely rewrote that. Like he made Boba Fett a clone, which he wasn't originally. He made Jango Fett, which he wasn't originally. Like it's all cool
Right.
new stuff, but it was just he just chose to go a different way. He wanted to bring that Mandalorian character or that Mandalorian armored character into the Old Republic with the prequels, and he did. So that's what he did.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think this was an improvement for the most part over a lot of what we saw last season. Would you guys agree with that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they nailed a proper length for a streaming series. I think
It's about time.
a clear, concise goal. Even though the means to get to that goal was very sketchy, they could have fixed those a lot easier. It was definitely not something that broke the story or the believability of it. It was just like, wait a minute, that took me out for a moment. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's still like the set piece was still entertaining. They just didn't get there in the best of ways.
Yeah, for me, it's like the suspension of disbelief. Was that last part enough to erase the other part, like a freaking MIB little flash laser? And for me, kinda that. But then my thinking part of my brain goes like, wait a minute, all of this was started off on the wrong foot altogether. Why didn't he just say, hey, you know about Jedi?
This is another thing that I want to. This popped into my mind, but I still think the Mandalorian's character, like he leaves that. Obviously, that guy like attacked him, the Gore guy. He attacked him. What is his name? Gore Koresh. He attacks that guy. I thought it was great that he shoots the light out and then he leaves him to whatever those red-eyed monsters were to like devour him on that planet. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
But then when he's confronted with having to take the armor, he like, why wouldn't he just take it? It's like, I don't need to go fight this crate dragon. I don't care about it. I'm trying to find my people. You have my armor. I'm taking it.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like, he's got a full suit of Beskar armor pretty much, and all of its trinkets and gadgets, and Timothy Oliphant basically has whatever was salvaged from the Sarlacc pit, which is a couple of gauntlets and a chest piece and helmet. And the chest piece has the rocket pack to it, so I guess, yeah.
It still had the missiles or the rockets, yeah, that were still working. I guess he could have gotten new ones that fit that. That's obviously a possibility. But so yeah, I guess that that was something I harped on last season. Is just like why is he making these choices? Like why did he even make the choice to like go and protect the baby Yoda in the first place? We never really like they kind of try and allude to it through like a flashback with him on whatever planet he's from, where they're being attacked by the Imperials. But I don't know. I just feel like we don't know. Like, why would you kill this guy and not kill this other guy or do that? Because even in the first episode of the first season, he's just going and collecting bounties on people because they have bounties on them, and he didn't care to hear that guy's sob story that he like carbon freezed. So why would he care about this Marshal's sob story about the crate dragon? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So I still think that's like a huge issue, just with why he's making the decisions that he's making.
In previous lore, did Boba Fett ever launch that rocket on his backpack?
But like not from the movies, but probably in some stories, yeah.
In literature?
Probably, yeah. Maybe he did it in the Star Wars Holiday Special cartoon. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
No, he didn't. I watched the Star Wars Christmas special. No, he didn't.
Yeah. I've only seen the cartoon once, so I haven't gone back to it.
So I think it would have been more. I think so. His whole idea is to try and find this guy, right? So like he's going to Tatooine to find a person who has, who he thinks is a Mandalorian and has that Mandalorian armor. I thought it would have been much more interesting if that, and it would have made more sense for why he would have to go fight this Krayt dragon instead of having to confront the Marshal in the actual that pub or whatever, that bar. The guy's like, oh yeah, this guy who kind of like protects our town somewhat, lives up in the mountains, and he's hunting a Krayt dragon right now that's been terrorizing us. And then so he has to go and like that's why he has to go and find the Krayt dragon. And you find out that the Krayt dragon has like maybe injured this guy. He survived, but he's like had to like get rid of his armor, and the armor is like now in the Krayt dragon's lair or something. And then that's why he has to go get the armor. And because he has this, they reveal that he has the code to get the armor. I don't know. I just feel like that would make more sense as to like why he would be doing that instead of like, oh, I just want to help these people out because.
It'd be better if Timothy Oliphant said, actually, I know where you can go to find a real Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you this armor and tell you the information if you help me with the Krayt dragon, you know?
Yeah, that could have worked too. Like that's just another.
Like we don't have to fight. And basically, yeah, we don't have to fight.
And then he gives him coordinates to Tamura Morrison.
Or just another. They could introduce another Mandalorian or something like that.
I think next episode they're still gonna be on Tatooine though.
Oh, I think so for sure.
Yeah, because she's still repairing the ship.
I also think it's just weird that when he's asking these people about like Mandalorian, like he's trying to find Mandalorians. Like, why wouldn't he also ask about the Jedi? Because that's who he's actually trying to find, right? He's trying to find the Jedi, and he doesn't even ask about them. He's just like, I'm trying to find the Mandalorian to bring it back to his people. And does he assume that that Yoda is a Jedi? Like that's a race? Is that a species or whatever? Is that what he's thinking?
Maybe.
I think because of the abilities that the child is able to display, they are Jedi-like abilities. The ability to move things with your mind. So.
Right, but does he know what a Jedi like? That he doesn't know that Jedis can be different species. We don't know that yet, right? John Willis here is asking a question. Did he actually? What are you referring to there? I don't know what you're referring to there, John Willis.
Yeah, but
is he talking about the rocket launcher? Yeah, wizard baby. He's looking for wizard people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Skullman. Script doctor was praising Timothy Olyphant earlier. He really liked his casting as well. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
I thought that I'll be honest, when he like walked in, I think he looked really skinny, thin.
Yeah.
He looked,
He does look, well, he is a thin guy, but
Thin.
I also found it funny that the armor was too small for him too.
yeah, yeah. That was, yeah. Um,
Because Boba Fett's not really a tall guy at least in the original trilogy. He's only a little bit taller than Leia.
right.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
and Pedro is filling out. If you notice, he's a
Or his
little
stunt double
bulky.
is, at least.
No, you can tell when it's the stunt double and it's Pedro, because Pedro is like bulking out in the armor, and not in a good way. But when it's the stunt
Well,
double, like
that
you
might have
see
been.
the action scenes, it's a little bit thinner fitting on him.
It could have been when he was doing Wonder Woman 80. Well, no, it might have been Wonder Woman 84 reshoots or something like that, because his Wonder Woman 84 character is a little heavier.
Well, in the post production, like interviews and stuff, he is bigger.
For Mando, there was post
Yeah,
production
for
already.
the season 1,
There was a post production interview already.
or not.
Oh, for
post-production,
season
but,
one.
like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, for season one.
interviews
Okay.
that he did with like I just interview with Oscar Isaac and him, discussing like their regional differences, and then he is bigger. He's eaten well.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Nano Reaper is saying the Mandalorian armor seems like an MMO side quest. Yeah, that's what Don was saying earlier. He brought that up. We repeatedly harped that the whole like season one was like RPG quests that he was taking.
Yeah,
and then he would even. Yeah.
He completely forgot about his mission to find the other Mandalorian. He's like, oh, I found the armor. Well, at least I got the armor.
Side quest.
I think he just assumes that there is no Mandalorian because he finds a guy with armor and who takes his helmet off, and he's like,
not a
"Oh,
Mandalorian,
can't be a
yeah.
Mandalorian." Although we, as viewers, know from watching the Clone Wars that Mandalorians have no problems taking their helmet off.
I think maybe the next quest is going to be the Mandalorian trying to find who originally had the armor. Because it ended up on Tatooine somehow, right? So
Yeah, possibly. You would think,
maybe he's
yeah.
going on the premise that, yes, the Mandalorian without the armor is still here somewhere, or maybe dead.
Or
Silver-
the Boba Fett finds him.
Yeah, or until Boba Fett finds him.
He'll return to like Mos Eisley. Is that the spaceport that he lands in? Is Mos Eisley? I can't remember. Where
Nearby.
Mos Eisley, Mos Espa, yeah, Mos Eisley, because they go to the Han Solo bar. So yeah, he's in Mos
right,
Eisley.
yeah. So he's gonna return to the whatever her name is, Amy Sedaris' character, and like ask her for more information because she seems to be like an information guru type.
It's like, have you
person.
seen this armor before? Oh yeah, that's Boba Fett's. He used to work for Jabba.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, people should recognize. You would think people would still recognize that armor, right? On Tatooine, there would at least be a couple people.
Yeah, even with the special edition, when Boba Fett was hanging out with Jabba over in Docking Bay 94, he had to have gotten there on foot somehow with the rest of the crew. So whoever lived in Mos Eisley at the time that still lives there now may have seen and recognized him.
Or some scum and villainy might know.
Yeah.
If there are any, if I remember correctly, like even Mos Eisley was kind of abandoned. It seems like Tatooine is worse off than what it was during the Empire's control of the galaxy, or even when Jabba was controlling it as the cartel.
Well, what about this as a premise for why Tatooine was bustling during the time of Luke, which is it's an outer rim planet that's technically not under the thumb of the Empire. So even though it's difficult to live, it's better than the Empire. Now with the Empire gone, it's like, hey, we can go back to our planet that's no longer under the thumb of the Empire and live more comfortably.
Yeah, that I buy that. Skullman says, I hope we get to see the good side of Boba and that he works with Mando rather than being another side villain.
I kind of like him as a villain.
Yeah, I know they turned him into a hero in the EU books where he's like training the Jedi alongside Luke. I agree with Don though. Boba Fett should stay a villain. I don't like that person.
The self-serving bounty hunter is a fun character to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I thought that's kind of what we were going to get with the Mandalorian. And I don't know. I like this again. Why is he killing some people, carbon freezing other people, and then just like, oh, I want to help you because
He's a little erratic. Yeah.
yeah.
He's got
Unless
like
it's-
Captain Janeway consistency on character. Like
Unless it's
yeah,
some
same name,
code.
same uniform, different weird behaviors for different situations, or for the same situations, different behaviors. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any last thoughts?
I'm still curious about the next episode. I mean, it achieved that. It doesn't make me not want to watch. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they're gonna go from here.
If the next episode's 30 minutes, I'll be upset.
100%. It's not like something I need. I don't feel like if we weren't doing these like these little live stream reactions that we're gonna be doing, I don't know if I'd be watching. I don't know if that was enough for me to keep.
If it's
going.
enough to compel it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm much more interested in the Gundam, in the Iron-Blooded Orphan Gundam right now.
I'm much more interested in this right now. So.
Yeah, so I think that alone kind of tells you about it. And maybe it's just and also like kind of a cascade effect from what we know is going where the story is going to go. Eventually, it's going to have to tie into the Disney stuff, which is just absolute crap.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, okay, we're gonna wait for Cara Dune and Grief Karga to come back in this series. Then we're gonna see, I guess, Ahsoka is gonna be later on, like in the next 7 episodes.
They can the Indian Disney Plus Instagram account like confirmed that. I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Yeah, so like it's there's things that they've advertised that have piqued my curiosity, but again, the biggest trouble that this team has for the Mandalorian is that they're not focusing their stories and checking their work before they go into production. It still feels a little rushed.
Well, they got done with season 1, and then they immediately went into filming season 2.
Yeah, I think they started production in no, they went into production in November of last year, right? And then they wrapped in January, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like it was like January, February.
Okay, but still, that's kind of November.
It's still quick because they shot it, I guess,
December,
in
3 months.
They shot it in February, March, and April of 2019. I think, if I remember correctly.
For the first one?
Yeah, for the first. Yeah,
I
I think they shot at the beginning of that year because then they had the promotional stuff for the Disney, all the summer stuff that way, leading up to Rise of Skywalker. And after that first episode aired, I think that's when they started going into production for season 2.
Sorry, I'm looking up. OG Star Wars is saying that Boba Fett didn't train Jedi. I'm pretty sure he did when I read that on.
Only trained
Wikipedia.
Jaina Solo one time to help her defeat her brother.
I'm pretty sure he was working with them as well. I gotta find it here.
This is what we nerds do. We look up our sources
Um,
to find out whether we're wrong or right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
actually like Googling right now, like for Boba Fett stories that were published prior to the Essential Guide, just to see how much consistency there was.
It does say that Boba Fett did train Jaina, or however you say her name, Jaina Solo.
But never trained Jedi with Luke. That's what she's saying. Yeah, I trust OG Star Wars.
No,
with her
I'm
stuff.
just. Yeah, I know. I'm just. I could have swore I read that when I was doing some research for Boba Fett's, when I was doing research for this Mandalorian stuff. When they were talking about Boba Fett being in the show, because I remember looking at a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm just curious whether we'll get Ahsoka first or we'll get Sabine first.
Yeah, it seems like both are going to be showing up for sure. I mean, we know Ahsoka's confirmed, so that's happening. Nano Reaper saying Star Wars canon changes more than the ATF on Pistol Prince.
He's not wrong there.
No, he's not.
Drew is saying Boba Fett is a bumbling fool. What? No, he's not. What are you talking about?
I mean, the Empire did more work to actually capture Han Solo. Boba Fett was just clever enough to do the same tactic of following the pile of trash.
Yeah, but how is he a bumbling fool? Because he gets whacked by Han Solo when he's blind? I don't know.
He has a faulty jetpack.
Yeah.
She's saying they may have worked alongside, but
Says
not
keeping
train.
his promise to the Jedi, Fett initiated a brutal training regimen for his forces on Raxus Prime. That's probably just Mandalorians. Yeah, he might not have trained them alongside Luke. I might have that, but I'm pretty sure he trained more than just Jaina. I could have swore I saw that. I'm not seeing it though. I'll have to look it up later. Because I'm not seeing it right now, so I might be wrong.
It's not bad to be wrong.
No, I'm not. No, I'm fully admit that I'm wrong. I made 2 headline mistakes earlier today. I had to fix those. Fortunately, you can't edit Twitter, so the mistake is still on Twitter. But I changed them like right away before that.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
the African American black cast, that one's still.
Oh, no, that's different altogether. There was nothing wrong with that. There was no spelling or grammar errors with that headline. I'm talking about actual grammar spelling errors. Like I did a Doctor Who, instead of hairstylist, I said Harry stylist, and then there was a grammar error in my the Emily Ratajkowski story that I did earlier today. All right, so we will be back again next week around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Do we want to? Let's go and do a number score. What would you rate this out of 10? We'll start with you, Don.
Gosh, in the end, I gave it an 8, but at the beginning, I gave it like a 5. So it's like a 6 or a 7. Yeah, no, 6. We'll keep it 6.
What about you, script? Well, do you want to? Oh, you don't have to reveal it if you don't want to. If you're doing,
I mean, it's hard to aggregate on numerical scale, but I'd say it's one of. Is it one of the worst episodes or the best? Or one of the better episodes? It's a better set piece at the end, but it's kind of weak going in there. Like the setup is a little weak. I mean, I really did like that that set piece at the boxing ring. I thought that was kind of cool and stuff,
that,
and good mood and tone. And then it just kind of detracted from that for 30 minutes, and then kind of got back on track for the rest. So I'd say it's a slightly average episode of Mandalorian. So it's not the worst, but it's not one of their better ones.
Just think of it on the doctor's level. Like, what is the measure of pain on a scale of 1 to 10? So just,
I mean, it's not painful. It's just kind of perplexing. It's partially perplexing. There you go. That's it's partially perplexing, but still it's fun to watch. It's still fun. Yeah, partially perplexing, but still fun.
Drew is not happy. He's like, I just watched this, and the Crate Dragon thing was ripped straight off of Knights of the Old Republic, the first game, down to the strategy and everything. I mean, I think that's maybe what they have been going for. They actually did some research on that, so that might have been.
You do what works, right? So if you can't
Yeah.
penetrate the armor, you got to go underneath. And the only thing that's weird is that it's a worm now, so it could technically dig underneath the explosives.
Which is weird
Or
because
it would have been,
is
yeah, it
Lord
would
of
have
the
been
Rings.
underneath of it.
That is Hobbit right down to the middle. Remember freaking Smog?
Oh, Smaug, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
They
his only
took that
weak
from
point.
Smaug. Yeah.
Yeah, John Willis is saying you dreamed up a better scenario that made far more sense on how to kill the Crate Dragon or fight the Crate Dragon.
Like have 2 of them, right? That's way more sense.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought it was going to be. That's what they kind of
For
showed
that
us.
brief moment, I'm like, oh, there's a second one, and then no, wait, it's the same one.
Yeah. All right, so I would I'm probably like 5.5. Just like that's probably where I'm at with this one. Just a little bit above average. Didn't like wow me. If we like, I think what Don and what Script were saying, the opening was so good though. I really did like seeing the axes being whacked at each other, and it wasn't like completely damaging them, because that did remind me of KOTOR as well, where you had you had that like tournament on that first planet, that you would go through where the people didn't actually die or whatever. You just had like the pain belt or whatever, so you would feel.
Oh yeah, like the further you progress, the more money you'd make, and
yeah. So that was even from that there I thought was a lot from KOTOR as well. So they definitely drew a lot from KOTOR, for sure. Which so yeah, 5.5 for me. And we will be back doing this again next week, where we just kind of have this is kind of what we'll be doing, a discussion and just talking about the episode, about all the spoilers and everything. So had fun doing this again. Hopefully we will be back again next week. So
yeah, and hopefully next week's episode will be better.
Yeah, that's what we're always hoping for, right?
Always hoping for it better. Yeah. It gets some good moments here and there, but yeah.
We didn't see any of those guys. None of those guys were there. All right, have a great night, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll have another video for you guys on Monday. I'm not sure what it'll be. So thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you for Bounding Live on Wednesday, and then for our Mandalorian review on next Friday. Have a great one.
Night.